my whole passion is the mind and the body connection. And that's really what I'm here to talk about today. So, to really understand that we are like mental, emotional, physical, and vibrational beings. And the more we know that, understand it, and understand how we're wired, we can actually tap into our inner strength and our inner resilience, so we can deal with the external experiences and the implicit feelings to our body much more with ease if we just start tapping into what we have and who we are. And I'm just, like, as I said, I'm just so passionate about it. So what I'm going to do with you is to invite you all to get ready to rock through this session. What I'm going to get you to do is do a little exercise just to see where everybody's at today. So what I'm going to do is invite you to place your hands underneath your nose. So only when you're ready. So place your hands underneath your nose, and I'm going to invite you to take 3 big deep breaths in. So when you're ready, take a huge deep breath in, breathing in, and then breathing out through your nose. Really slowly. I'm breathing in, and this time breathe out through your nose, but notice which nostril the air is coming from as you breathe out. And again, breathing in, and then breathing out, really noticing which nostril the breath is coming out from. Just be really clear on that again. I'll do once more, breathing in, and then breathing out through the nose. And then come back to me. Now, what you're doing here is you're actually understanding, though, if the breath came out of the right nostril, you're working from the left side of the brain, and vice versa. If it came outside the left, then you're actually working the right side. And this is a really important kind of definition for you all, because it really understands that if you're working from your left side, you're in more of a reactive response. And what happens is that's letting you know that adrenaline and cortisol is actually running through the body. If you're working through from the right side of the brain, that means you're in a good space. You're in called ventral vagal, and I'll explain that in a minute. But this means that you're in that space of connecting, and you're able to respond to different situations much easier. So I would love for people to go, let me know right or left. I'm sure it was probably 50-50. But just to understand that on a deeper level, a client of mine says to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, Laura, he goes, you know what? He goes, I just want to go on holiday. I just literally want to leave my body and run away and go on holiday. And I just felt, I'd say a lot of people feel like that, but actually, really what's happening is already you're out there. So I said to him, imagine that you're like a 50-piece jigsaw, okay? And what happens is that when we wake up in the morning, we tend to give ourselves pieces of ourselves to everyone. So whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, we look at our Gmails, we start responding to people around us, then other people are phoning us, and then our job, and then other things. So we have so much going on, and we're giving our energy out. And what happens is when we give our energy out like that, our body gets a bit depleted. And when I'm talking to kids, I usually say, you're like a big tree, and you're in the center of the tree, there's a big hole, and all of that energy is going out. So today I want to show you some tools and techniques to pull that energy back, to actually rebuild that jigsaw so you can seal and heal. Okay, I've actually patented that, sealing and healing. The more we come back to ourselves, guys, that is the true healing to who we are, and to tap into that inner strength. For so many years, we've all kind of gone outside of ourselves, looking for other people to heal us, looking for other people to fix us. And now what they're calling it is the new awakening, this new 5th dimensional energy. And what that actually is, the secret is that it's actually coming back to yourself. Okay. So when you understand how energy works, then you can literally take responsibility for it. So energy has rules. Energy has rules. The first thing that energy needs to do, energy needs to move. Energy needs to move, whether that is walking, swimming, what we were just talking about there a few moments ago, standing around in the fresh air, bopping to your favorite music. Energy needs to move. Energy in motion is emotion. So if the energy is not moving, emotion tends to get stagnated in the body. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute. The second thing about energy is that it needs space to move. So if your tissue, so if you're actually holding your body in a certain way, whether it's your shoulders up around your ears, and especially I've seen this like as a massage therapist for the last 30 years, so many people come in and they're holding their body in a certain way. And if that's literally squeezing the tissues, what's happening is that lactic acid is forming, and it literally forms in the tissues that it actually can't expand. So if your body's in this contraction mode, what happens is energy can't move. So there's no breath coming through, there's no energy shifting. And that allows your body, it keeps your body stuck. Okay, so this is energy. The third thing around energy is that it has a pattern. So if you look at a DNA cell, what happens is they're all crossed. So what happens through our whole body is that we have natural patterns that are crisscrosses, polarity through our body. And through time and through trauma, this unravels. So to actually stimulate that natural behavior of patterning again, we need to do things like cross our hands. So when you cross your hands, so simply by doing that, I get kids to become a pretzel. When you cross your hands, your right brain and your left brain have to work. So when both parts of your brain works, you're keeping yourself in that natural balance. And I explained that in a minute about the nervous system. So the more you simply cross your hands, or in yoga, they do a simple thing like a mudra. So they just place one hand over the other, taking your breath. So if you're at your computer and you feel a little bit out of balance, or you feel a little bit stressed, one hand over the other, taking your breath will start to refocus and rebalance that right and left brain. So energy, as I said, guys, so it has the rules. So it needs to move, it needs space to move, it has patterns. And the other thing then around energy is that it absorbs other people's energy. How many times have we been in a room and somebody walks in and you feel like, oh my God, like the energy has just changed, or they bring down the energy. And I often say to people, like, put me in a bubble. I'm in my positive bubble, and people are like, can I get in your bubble? I'm like, no, get out of my positive bubble with your negativity. So it's just be aware of what you're listening to. Be aware of who you're talking to. If people drain your energy, do you want to be around them? Okay, it's huge, guys. Energy is like osmosis, it travels through each other. So the more you're aware of that, what I've often said to even teachers is that when you're aware of that, what you can do, simple tricks, is like cross your hands. This will cross your solar plexus and start closing you down. Or put something in front of you like books, or have something in front of your tummy, is where we give our power away, our energy away, and just fold. So just be aware of people that you're talking to, or even things that we're listening to. Blessed, like the last 2 years have been quite traumatic for everybody, and listening to different numbers and all of that with COVID. And what happens is that is like trauma. So trauma in the body, whether it's micro or macro. So whether you have something that's like bombarding you the whole time, what happens is that the nervous system then again contracts. It feels unsafe. It feels unsafe in the world. So your body will close down. Then what your body expects to happen is that it actually wants an emotion to actually clear out and diffuse the contraction in the body. But what do we all tend to say? We're grand, we'll be fine, we're okay. Actually, you know what? I've decided not to look at that. It's okay, put it behind us. So the body never actually gets to do a full cycle. And whether that, as I said, it could be a macro trauma, it could be somebody pulling in front of you or in the car, and you're like, and you take a deep breath and your body freezes, and then you don't actually speak about it again, and then it gets stuck in the body. And as a Louise Hay, workshop leader, my biggest understanding of the body is that every emotion lands in the body, and it holds and it gets stuck in the body. It gets stuck in our organs and in our tissues. And people that know me say, I've often said, like, your issues get stuck in the tissues. And again, as a therapist, I would actually end up listening to people and listen to what they say and how they speak. And then I can actually get them up onto the table and then start to work on their body. But you have to speak and say what you're feeling to actually start dispersing. So it's so interesting. So I came across another thing, something recently, and it is called tapping. A few of you have probably seen the tapping. And the tapping is also known as emotional freedom technique. So when we do this emotional freedom technique, we are allowing our body work with the meridians of the body. So we have 12 sets of meridians. They're energy lines that come up and down the body. And by working on certain points, by tapping on these certain points, our acupressure points, we are literally connecting to the body, but also to the organs. So every part of the energy in the body is related to a few different organs of the body. So you don't have to be really specific. You just have to know some of the points in the body. You don't have to even know the organs. So by tapping into the energy, tapping into these certain points, you can actually start to release that trapped emotion or trapped trauma in the body safely and with ease. And again, you don't even have to understand what the trauma is. You're just becoming aware of it. So as I said to you guys, when you start coming back to yourself and being more present and really starting to feel what's inside, that's you becoming aware of your consciousness self, your consciousness being. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to maybe talk you through and maybe take you through some of the tapping techniques if you're willing, or if you're open and you feel safe enough to do so. Okay. So some of the tapping techniques, this one is called 100%. So it kind of deals with the overall well-being of the body. So the tapping points there's one literally at the side of the hand. So we're going to tap at the hand, then you're going to tap literally in the inside of the eye, the outside of the eye, underneath the eye, underneath the nose, underneath the chin, the collarbone, the spleen area, and the head. So I'm going to talk you through it. And it's a kind of nice way to map the face out, because you're going around the eyes, back down the face, down into the body, and then finish on the head. So if you're willing to go with me, I would love you just to close your eyes, or just literally lower your eyes if you feel safe to do so. And I just want you to literally sense your body, see how you're feeling today. Just zone into your body. And just notice, are you feeling any tiredness? Are you feeling a little bit fatigued? Are you feeling pain anywhere in the body? Just really start looking inwards. You're almost shining a light on inside. Just really becoming aware of the body. As you breathe in and breathe out. Now I want you to focus on a certain pain or discomfort in the body. And we're just going to talk to this through our tapping. So whatever pain you feel, we're going to talk to it, and you just make it your own. So if you have a pain in the neck or pain in the lower back, you bring that into the sentence that we're going to do. Okay. So only when you're ready, we're going to tap the side. So literally tap the side of your hand onto the other hand, and you just gently tap as you breathe in and breathe out, and you're focusing on the pain. And I'm just going to say this sentence. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And now I want you to be really specific with yourself. So I'm going to say, even though I have this pain in my body, you replace it to what you have. I love and accept myself. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. Breathing in and breathing out. Now we're going to bring the tapping points right up into the inside of the eye. And you're just tapping the inside of the eyes, and you're just going to repeat this sentence. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And out to the outside of the eyes where the temples are. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And then under the eyes. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. Breathing in and out. Bring your awareness now just underneath the nose, your little tapping. I'm focusing on the pain. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And now tapping just on the chin. And again, repeating the sentence. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. Come right down to the collarbone. So you just have your collarbone, just beneath the collarbone, you'll feel a little indentation there. Breathing in and breathing out and repeating the sentence. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. Just underneath then, where the spleen is in the rib cage, just tapping the rib cage. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And then finally, you're going to tap the head, the very top of the head, and repeat once more. Even though I have this pain in my body, I love and accept myself. And then just coming back, taking a nice deep breath in and breathing out. Just notice and scan how you feel right now. And just keeping your eyes closed. And just asking yourself and asking your body, if there is an emotion connected to this pain, what is it? Don't think about it too much. Just understand and feel what comes up. So I'll ask the question again. If there is an emotional reason why I have this pain, ask my body, what is it? Breathing in and breathing out. Now I want you just to become aware of the thymus gland. The thymus gland is just here in the center. The thymus gland is where we stimulate our immune system. So we're just going to gently tap on the thymus gland. And if you felt an emotion coming up, or if you just even put a word on it, I want you to thank this emotion. So with gratitude. So you're tapping and you're thanking this emotion for showing itself safely. So you're breathing in and you're breathing out. So whether the emotion is guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, unworthiness, just breathe into it and just tell it that you see it and you acknowledge it. Breathing in and breathing out. And then gently come back to me. Guys, the power in that is huge. It's huge. I hope you feel kind of even a sense of a little bit more relaxation into it. Emotions are like toddlers, okay? And when we don't listen to them, they just want to be seen. And what happens is they scream louder and louder in the body. And then we end up with pain. And the pain is only letting us know. It's a way to let us know, to tap into us and acknowledge what's going on. It's trying to get our attention. Okay, it's different ways and different areas in the body will try and get our attention. And again, as I said, as a therapist, people will come into me and they'll have pain on their shoulders, and I would say, okay, well, what is the world on your shoulders? Or they'll say, I have stomach problems, and they'll say, okay, what is that you not want to let go? Or pains in their legs, and they're like, okay, I'm going, I usually say, well, are you looking maybe to step forward in life? Our legs bring us forward. Every part of the body will hold that emotion, and every organ. So the more we actually tap in, and we were always almost taught to resist, going, oh, we're grand, or don't be crying, or it's grand, you'll be grand in a minute, take a paracetamol. The more we do that and actually resist the emotion, it gets bigger and bigger until we actually look and start looking within. And as I said, it's almost like turning a light inside. The more we do that and start loving and bringing compassion and kindness to ourselves and loving ourselves, the more power we have to seal and heal. And as I said, I'm so passionate. I do it on a daily basis, and I will bring other things in like gratitude. The attitude of gratitude is just amazing. And actually, they're doing an awful lot in the States at the moment with psychology and the emotion of shame. And how they describe shame is that shame is like a little kid that's playing hide and seek in the body. And so it tends to get stuck anywhere behind organs or behind the nervous system. And they're now realizing through so many brain researchers is that they're saying the attitude of gratitude is like the elixir of gold for shame, because it disperses it and it acknowledges that actually I'm okay, and I'm allowing you come up and release from my body, because you know what? I am so grateful to where I am right now. Gratitude. I'd probably say thank you. I'm so grateful. I'd probably say it 100 times a day. I'm so in love with gratitude. So just again, back to consciousness and who we are. And how I describe this is like we're like a tree. Okay. So the base of the tree, guys, is our roots. It's like in mindfulness, it's like our observer. It's like who we naturally are. It never moves. It's rooted. And if you think that the trunk of the tree looks up, and it's looking then at the body and then the mind, okay? The body then is that body, as I said, it's the trunk. And when we have a big hole in it, when we're giving our energy away, I've an 11-year-old now, but I taught her about ribbons. I said, who are you giving your ribbon to? And I used to make her take her ribbons back every night to heal and seal this hole in her solar plexus. And then up at the top then is like, we're like the leaves. The leaves for me are like, it is our thoughts, and we have 80,000 thoughts a day. 80,000 thoughts a day. That's kind of scary, guys, because a lot of these thoughts are actually packed into that left brain, and we don't even realize, we're not even conscious. They are literally chucking out the whole day, but they have a huge way of literally guiding us. They're like the sails of our ship. You know, we're actually thinking these thoughts ongoing, and we don't even realize it until we become present and consciously aware. And those 80,000 thoughts, as I said, they're in that filing cabinet. So we have two hemispheres of the brain, the left brain and the right, as I said earlier on. Now, the left brain, it actually looks physically like a little filing cabinet. And everything in that filing cabinet has been recorded since the age of 0 to 7. And even before that, in 3 months of utero, they're calling it epigenetic. So it's in your environment. So everything from your environment is recorded and put in there. And then from that age, from 0 to 7, then consciousness, our prefrontal cortex then actually starts to open up, and we start making decisions for ourselves. But we usually make decisions on what we have learned and behaviors that we have learned from around us, from our parents, from siblings, from teachers. And if I say to you, like, you know, money doesn't grow on, I'm sure all of you actually answer that, you know, or you have to work hard for success or wealth. So it's all of this programming that is in there, and then later on we start making decisions for ourselves, and we realize that actually, is that true about ourselves? We go, oh, I can't afford that house, or I can't afford that. Why? Because there was a program in there that you went to the shop and somebody said, you know, I can't afford that sweet, or I can't afford that. And that programming is there constantly. So the more we become aware and catch our thoughts, the more we can actually make more conscious decisions in our life that actually bring us forward through life. And this is where mantras come. Like, as I said, gratitude, the attitude of gratitude. The more you put in a mantra. So what I did, you know, years ago is that actually I got a lipstick pencil, and I put on my mirror, I am enough. So I wanted to see that every day, going into my bathroom, brushing my teeth, and just looking at the words, I am enough. The more you see, as I said, an environment, like your energy absorbs everything, but the more you physically see it, the more you're actually changing your neural pathways of that programming. So the more you put your mantras in, and even if you don't believe it, you know, it's not saying fake it until you make it. So I am enough. All is well in my world. I am ready to rock. Whatever you want to put in there, the more you say it, the more you believe it. Our brain believes everything you tell it, believes everything you tell it, because it's a program. So and you're the programmer. So the more you program, the more mantras you say, the more actually it gets into that neural pathway, and then you start to release different chemicals, and that's the power. So the more you think of, and it's not even about positivity, it's just rewording and rewiring. And then when you rewire, you start to secrete then serotonin and dopamine. The more your attitude of gratitude comes in, there's your dopamine and serotonin. It comes into the chemicals, and then you're changing your whole chemicals in the body. But if you're in that left brain a lot of the time, and that's why I got you to test it at the beginning, what happens is that adrenaline is literally seeping through the body. When adrenaline is constant, when it's like flowing through your body the whole time, what happens is that it comes down into your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit over just over your kidneys. Then the adrenal glands tip over, pour into the solar plexus, and this is your main plexus nervous system. When it goes into the nervous system, then it actually travels through. And what happens is it becomes inflamed. And what happens? Pain. You're in pain because of the amount of the adrenal that's actually pouring through the body, pouring over into the plexus and pouring into the body. So if you can actually change, start catching yourself and be more present in what you're thinking, that will actually change the chemicals that's going through your body and released into the body, and actually change your vibration through what you're thinking, you're feeling, your thoughts, and what you're putting out in the world. And what you put out comes back, people. What you put out comes back. It's my biggest belief system, vibration. We are vibrational beings, and that's part of that consciousness. So it's really connecting that mind, body, and spirit. I went to a conference, and I'm constantly studying. I'm a studyaholic. I love studying. And I went to a fabulous conference with Dr. Porges, and he talked about something called the polyvagal theory. And it really made it clear about our nervous system, and how we like to feel safe. What you just said there about feeling safe in the world. And if we don't feel safe, we actually go through the different nervous systems, and we can actually end up in something called dorsal. So how I describe it is like a lighting system. So you have your green, you have your orange, and your red. Okay. The green light, okay, is it's the newest part of our vagus system, okay, and it's that social engagement, that connection with people. And what we're doing here is, the more we're in this green light, then we can connect into that right side of our brain, which keeps us in that responding nicely, rather than the reactive mode in that adrenal mode. So how you do this is that you stimulate then the top part of this vagus nerve is actually associated with the cranial nerves, 5 cranial nerves. So the first thing I would say is connection, is eye contact, guys. So eye contact, when I'm doing it with kids, I get them to stare in and do staring competitions. So when you connect with somebody's eyes, we are natural reciprocal beings. So when we come onto this planet, our nervous system, which, the reason I'm saying this is because I talked about the nervous system a second ago being inflamed. So you want to bring it back and feel safe. And these are the ways you can do it. So you connect. So when we come onto the planet, we're looking for another nervous system. This is what we are. And we actually look to connect with another nervous system. So it is just, it's called co-regulation. So when I'm connecting, I'm really looking into somebody's eyes. So just even when you're around like your partners or your kids, that you're not on the phone, that you're actually, when you're talking, you're connecting, because this is actually helping you come up into that green light. The next one is people's voices. So if somebody is around you and they're quite monotone, I can't even speak monotone, but they speak like this all the time, your body, your ventral vagal feels unsafe, and it actually will drop down to the next part of the nervous system. And even sounds, guys. So sounds, if you're hearing a ticking clock the whole time, what's happening is you'll be on high alert. Sounds, even if you're doing meditation, make sure that you like the person's voice, because people say, oh yeah, I'm listening to meditation, but halfway through it's annoying me, her voice is annoying me. Change it. You listen to somebody else. So sound is really important. Then the next position that we go into then is so that's your ventral, that's your high alert, you want to be in that state. The next one then you go into is the orange light. The orange light, then when we drop down. So when we don't feel safe, what happens is we cut off everything, and then we go into fight and flight mode. Okay, so this is the orange mode. When we go into fight or flight, guys, like I'm sure most of you heard of it. You're either going to fight, have an argument, or you're going to run. And I just noticed, especially over the COVID, over the last 2 years, like people haven't had the space to run. We couldn't run anywhere. So people were kind of sitting in this fight or flight the whole time, listening to stuff that was bombarding our nervous system. So when we're in that state, now we need that to actually get up in the morning, but then we need to then go up and down. So just you're allowed to go through the states safely. But what happens is, which the next bit I found so interesting, is that when we're in that orange light and we just feel so overwhelmed or so bombarded, we end up when we go into dorsal, that red light. And very rarely talked about. That dorsal is disconnect, disassociate. And what happens is when the body is bombarded with stress, the body goes, this is too painful. I'm out of here. I'm ready to leave. And it's a kind of it's not a safe place to be in, not constantly anyway. And what happens is that our heart rate actually drops really low. We can end up feeling like that our lips can even go blue. We feel really cold and we have no motivation to even get out of the bed. This is called dorsal vagal. Do you ever see a cat when a cat like picks up a mouse and the mouse pretends to be dead? He does that to go into that survival mechanisms, and that's what this dorsal vagal is. You can go in there for a moment. Yes, we all like to switch off and completely disconnect, but to stay in that red light is just not good for your body. So we want to get you back up and back up into that green light. Now you can't get from red to green. You have to go through the orange light. And how we do that is to actually stimulate a little bit of adrenaline through, as I said, movement, releasing the body. Listen to your favorite music, whether it's Bach or Metallica, I don't care. Listen to your favorite music. You want something to actually stimulate you to go from that kind of hopelessness and helplessness up into that fight or flight, and then you can go up into your ventral, that green light. And how you do that is a couple of ways. You have your outer resources and your inner resources. Your outer resources, we just talked a few moments ago, is the beach, the fresh air, nature, a kind face. Because of that reciprocal being, because of that nervous system depends on a kind face. Then you have your animals. Who loves a dog? Coming into them, unconditional love. So these are your outer resources, guys. And what I would like to do is over the next couple of days, consciously become aware of these little moments, these little glimmers that you're in that green light. You're like, oh my God, I can breathe. Yes, now I'm in a beautiful responsive. The more you become aware of those spaces, then the more you can add on to them, going, I want more of this, I want more of this. And this will keep you up into that green light. Then, as I said, then they are outer resources. Your inner resources then are your kindness to yourself and people around you, compassion. We're blessed, like we tend to judge. It's a natural bias for us as humans when somebody walks in front of us and we judge. Now, if we do that, the key is not to flip it. The key is actually go, okay, nourish the one that judges. Nourish the one that judges. So you're liking all of you, even the part that judges, but you just recognize it and catch that thought. Nourish the one that judges. Okay. Your inner beings then is actually close your eyes and think of a lovely person, because we internalize people. The big thing I really found over the COVID, people were contacting me going, Laura, I just miss your energy, not even your massage. I was like, thank you. But your energy. And I realized, when they were making their appointments, they're like, I feel better already just to have an appointment. I was like, because you've internalized my association of just having good energy, or, osmosis energy. You pick it up and you take it away with you. So again, it's just recognizing that. So if you think of somebody who you really love, bring them into your heart. And this is also known as heart mat. You can Google heart mat. It's amazing. I went over to the States and did 2 days on it. Told you, courseaholic. And the heart mat is just bringing somebody in, and the intention of somebody through breath and awareness, and that brings compassion, and it releases an awful lot of serotonin and dopamine. So these are just internal ways. So going back into your compassion, your kindness, your gratitude, and your love for yourself, they're all of that, or love for somebody else who you've internalized. So they're just other ways to keep you in that ventral space. So you'll have more of, as I said, a response. And also chemically, guys, you really want to start stimulating that serotonin and dopamine to calm down that nervous system, so the pain then is not squeezing out through the body. As I said, pain is just your messenger to tap in to say, will you come back in and listen to what's really going on?